in 1803, President Thomas Jefferson purchased the Louisiana territory from the French, right, under Napoleon. And this greatly expanded the territory of the United States and was part of its manifest destiny. So, the idea of America being a continental empire stretching from sea to shining sea, as the song goes. However, this almost didn't end up happening in our own timeline. So we're going to imagine what would have happened if it had gone differently. So the Louisiana Territory had once been a part of New France, so with the base out in New Orleans, stretching all the way into French Canada. However, after the 7 Years' War, France was kicked out of Canada, and that became a British territory. And the French were in a position where they had to sell the rest of the territory to the Spanish, so it became part of New Spain, as it were. But then with the Napoleonic Wars, you end up having a situation where France end up taking dominion over Spain, and so they basically strong-armed the Spanish into giving back that territory to the French. And this is part of Napoleon's ambitions to have a North American empire, as there had once been before. However, Napoleon was stumped by this by a revolution which took place in the most valuable French colony, which was Saint Domingue, which later became Haiti. So this is a slave rebellion led by Toussaint Louverture. I see, I'm still really bad at pronouncing French names, so he ended up overthrowing the French, ended slavery, although at a later point he did try and reinstitute it again, but that's neither here nor there. But the point being that France ended up losing its most valuable territory in America, and so Napoleon's ambitions for this North American empire was greatly stunted. And so France was strapped for cash and needed the resources to fight the European wars, which became later known as the Napoleonic Wars. So like they needed all the money that they could get. On the flip side, America wanted to expand, and so Thomas Jefferson offered $15 million for the purchase of that territory, and in 1803 this ended up going through. However, something to note is that this policy, which on the face of it would have been greatly popular, like to our eyes now, it would benefit of hindsight, we were like, that was really smart move, that was big brain move. But at the time, based with the politics of early America, this was a very contentious move. And the reason for that is because the Federalist Party, which was the party mainly centred in the northeast of the country, was very much closely tied to Britain, Although America had got its independence, they wanted to retain a good trade and good relationships with the British Empire, and they were very hostile to the French. And on top of that, Thomas Jefferson was from the opposing party, which was the Democratic Republican Party. And this was a party which had emphasised, states' rights, having a reduced federal government, having limited powers of the president. And then he went and exceeded these powers by doing this purchase, right? And so both within the Federalist Party and within his own party, there was a lot of contention about him doing this, because it kind of was hypocritical. It kind of contradicted everything which he had professed to believe in, just for sheer territorial expansion. And so in Congress, it passed by just 59 votes to 57, right? So if just 2 congressmen had gone the other way on this issue, then it would never have happened. And so this alternative history is going to look at 3 different scenarios of what could have happened if the purchase never went through. The first being that France holds on to the territory. The second being that the territory is eventually handed back to the Spanish. And the third being that the British end up taking over the territory. So that's what we're going to look into in this video.